Hello my lovely jubblies, I'm Pantasims and welcome to my channel. In this video we will look through all the build and buy items as well as all unlocked and debug objects for the new Sims 4 Eco Lifestyle Pack. So if you're a Sims builder and are unsure whether this pack is worth your hard-earned moolah, sit back, relax and let me show you what this pack has to offer. I know the pack came out a few days ago, but I had food poisoning which delayed me making this video, so better late than never, especially since there are many of you who still have not purchased this pack and are not sure if you should. This video is for you. This is the New World Evergreen Harbour. The three neighbourhoods within this world are Conifer Station, so it's got a train station in a little suburban town, Port Promise, which is an industrial docking station, and Grimm's Quarry. Now if you click on this leaf foot icon, it will show you the eco footprint. The station is automatically neutral, the quarry is already green, and Port Promise starts off with an industrial footprint. And the great thing about this feature is that it applies to all the other worlds as well. Here in Willow Creek, you'll see all of them start out as neutral other than the park that already has a green footprint. And this is the same throughout all the worlds except for Strangerville because it already has its own different kind of gameplay feature that doesn't really work well with this pack. The only negative side to this town is there are numerous lots, but for an expansion pack I was hoping that there were going to be a few bigger lots. Most of these lots are really small and the biggest one is 40 by 30. There's a couple of 40 by 30s, those tend to be the community lots, and to me 40 by 30 is a very small size. I was hoping that there would at least be a 50 by 50 lot and really a 64 by 64 lot. I think every expansion pack should come with a 64 by 64 lot, and I get that for this style of pack it's supposed to be eco-friendly, smaller homes, I get that, but it would be nice to have the option to create this big industrial city if you wanted to, or a big green park and bigger community lot if you wanted to. I'm now in Brindleton Bay on a 64 by 64 lot because I need enough room to spread everything out and show you the different build buy options. With this pack we get 8 different new wallpapers here, and as you will see they come with either an eco footprint of industrial or an eco footprint of green. And the cool thing about this is that it's not limited to the eco lifestyle pack. Walls and floors from other packs, they also have environmental features, and to me that's really what makes a pack like this an expansion pack, because it affects all the different worlds. And this is a new feature that now makes building have a really big impact on your gameplay, which has never been done before. The pack comes with 7 new floor options and these 3 grass options. For doors, we have 12 new styles. Unfortunately, none of them fit the tall wall, but it is the first time we are having doors that are 4, 5, and 6 tiles wide. I'm going to start off with the corrugated metal look because that goes really well with these container style homes. If you're trying to make an authentic container home, then you're going to need to use the small wall, and it comes with these really cool new industrial doors that I absolutely love. I think the color scheme that they chose was really good. We've got all these different shades of grey. It also comes in these really bright colors. With a recycling type style to this pack, it would have been cool if there were some rusted options, like they'd actually recycled an old shipping container. I'm not really into bright primary colors, especially this weird bubblegum pink that I don't know why they chose this kind of pink, because there's nothing else in the pack that's pink other than the random bathroom items we will see in a minute and this kind of wooden salmony pink color. Now they did come up with flooring and roofing that matches. The industrial metal version does come with a roof and floor option in most of the colors. For some reason they are missing out the black swatch. The industrial metal roof and floor does not match the eco-friendly corrugated metal color options for some reason. Something to keep in mind as well is that there's a bit of an issue with diagonally placed container homes. The lines will only go this way or this way, so the only way to combat that is to make a flat roof piece, and this is about as low as you can get the roof piece to be, so it will have a bit of an angle. So the container homes seem to suit being placed this way and that way. Notice these new incredible folded steel support columns and beams. They look so flippin' awesome with the containers. They don't come in every color, and I wish they also had some with a rusted flaking paint finish, but these are fan-flippin'-tastic. So with this pack there are two columns, the steel and this warehouse living column that has these really cool metal rivets on the bottom. I don't know if this is a bug that will be fixed or just the way it is meant to be, but these steel columns face different directions when they're placed on the corners. This one on the left is facing this way, and the one on the right is facing the other way, and for me, I can't stand that I can't make it symmetrical on both sides. So I hope they fix this. I hope this isn't supposed to be the way it's meant to be for this pack. But other than this issue, I really love these folded steel columns. What I really love about this pack is that they matched the metal arches really well to the colors. It seems like they chose this array of colors to focus on most of the objects to match to. As you can see here, there are different options of this kind of frame door, and they come in all the different kinds of wood swatches, which is great. But then this archway, for some reason, some of them come with 3 different wood options, from the pale to the more orangey yellow to white. But then these doors only have one option, and for me that's kind of difficult, because if I'm trying to create an industrial color scheme indoors and I have this stark white frame, I then have to incorporate white in the other objects and the other design features in order to make it flow cohesively. I wish they would have provided some darker options. They also have this roof that acts as like solar panels, which is a neat feature because it looks industrial, but it also has a positive green eco footprint. So as you can see here, there are 4 different roof swatches. I like the 3 different color grass roofs. They match with the flooring. They provide a dark, a medium, and a light color. I really like that because I'm not really into the bright neon type of green. They also included this olive green color, which doesn't match anything else in the pack, but I do like that more industrial green color because it adds another option for your roofing that doesn't have to be all matchy-matchy with the other colors, and it can tie into some of the darker wall swatches if you're not into the really bright colors. These are all the different ladder swatches that it comes with, and they work against these metal containers. As you can see here, most of the colors match up. They've tied in the wood coloring with the metal, so that makes it cohesive if you want to incorporate the metal look alongside the wooden look. We have a new chimney option. There's white, there's off-white, there's this kind of pale colored grey, and then this grey has more of the warm taupey tone to it. I don't think it really goes because it is so pale in comparison to the color swatches for the walls, and it's odd to me that they are so heavy concrete looking when this pack mostly focuses on metal and a metal fireplace. You wouldn't put a stone or concrete chimney on top of a metal house. Metal pipe chimneys would have suited it way better. Plus, these stone or concrete chimneys don't match with the stone walls either, other than white. So what is it supposed to go with? Here are the other wall swatches in all their different colors. There's not a huge array of color options, but they do tie into the overall scheme of the pack really well. And the benefit of having these contrasting colors is you can tie in multiple different colors into one room, which I think is helpful. I also think these look very good as exterior. In other packs that we've gotten, some of these sidings look too bright when they're used externally. These still maintain their textures. There's some really good wood grains. One of my favorite wall swatches is this industrial one, rusted iron, and I really love this weathered copper tone one. There's lots of texture in this because they've added highlights and lowlights and a few different tones of the same color. It comes with a hammered metal look. There's also a stone version that goes really well with the quarry. It looks a bit like a bar graph, because what I did was I organized them all by the wooden frame. When it comes to the wooden swatches that they've used, they don't match up and it's very obvious. And we also see a discrepancy between how many options there are for certain colors and almost no options for other colors, which makes this pack a bit unbalanced. Let's start here with the white options. Now you see here we've got white wood and the white framed doors. I went through each of the wall swatches and picked out the ones that say they are white, but they don't quite match the frames, and I've noticed this with other packs too. Whenever they make white furniture or white framed doors, they're really glowingly bright, but then the wall options are never quite white. The closest is this corrugated metal. Another thing that doesn't match properly is I chose the white swatches for these 2 two different wooden floors, but when you put it next to the white walls and the white doors, it looks more like a pine color. Same with this wood option. So there are no wood flooring options that really go with the white wood doors. The new fence comes in 3 different sizes, which works great for exterior privacy fences and also as interior dividers. And they actually match up with the doors quite well, not so much with the walls. And then these are the window grass boxes. They all come with the white trim, but it is slightly off-white, but it does tie into the corrugated metal look and also some of these metal and stone walls. The green they chose for this pack has a bit more of a blue tint to it. Other packs have a lot of yellowy greens, and I think that this blue-green ties in really nicely with some of the green theme in this pack that has a bit more of a blue tint to it. Although I am surprised that there aren't more green options. We have this slight green wall and the corrugated green here, but as you'll see, there's not really a lot of furniture or other options that have that green in, which I thought was surprising considering this is an eco pack. Then this is the light toned wood. I have lined up all the different door options that come with this lighter wood framing, and there are so many options. There are more options for this color than any of the others, which I find very problematic because this pack caters to some of the more dark industrial coloring, and yet here we have dark brown that has absolutely no door to it. There is no door in this pack that matches with it. And then this is kind of a medium dark brown and it has one door, although it doesn't match the flooring, it doesn't match the tone of the siding. This has a lot more of an orangey tint to it, as well as the pillars that don't match. And then this color brown for the awning doesn't match with any of the walls or doors, but it does kind of match with this flooring. Similarly, the fencing is a brown that's between these two shades but doesn't fit in anywhere. So if you're trying to use this indoors, it's not going to match with any of the wood tones of this pack, and you can get away with using it outdoors if you use a different colored wall. This pack comes with 2 different new fencing. I showed you this one, and here's a more concrete version that ties into the coloring of the corrugated metal and some of this stonework. But I've aligned them based on the wood trim, and as you can see, once again, this paler color wood has multiple options in different colors, but then the other tones only have maybe 2 options or 1 option or no options at all. So if you were to create an exterior where this fence ties into this fence, you're limited to these darker colors of concrete. Another discrepancy, as you can see here, the woods don't match, as I've mentioned before, but also now these frames for these doors don't match at all. They're different tones, different shades, so these are the ones that they're supposed to complement. This is not quite white, it's a bit grey, but it doesn't match any of the other greys of the pack. And this one has a completely different tone. This has more of a peach coloring, this one has more of a tangerine type of coloring, bright copper coloring. So they will not look good next to each other, but you could perhaps tie them into some of these wall colorings as a contrast. And then we see here the wood color between the paler color and the more orangey color, but there's nothing that matches it. And the floors don't match. The floors have a very yellowy orangey color and the walls have more of an ash color to them. The door doesn't tie into the swatch of the wall either, and there are very few options for it. Then we have this ash toned grey, which does tie into this more taupey grey of the corrugated crate. However, the flooring that is supposed to match this swatch, it says that it's the grey option, the same kind of grey option as the walls, as you can see here, but they're completely different. This has much more of a brown color, even with some flecks of green in it, and that does not go at all with this color wall and door. Then again, like I mentioned, there's the introduction of this pink coloring that doesn't really go with much else in this pack. We have this black option here. It only comes with 1 door with the black wood. I mean, there are these black versions of the doors, but again, the wood swatches are either the grey or white. And then this is supposed to be the black swatches for the flooring, and just like the Realm of Magic pack, this is not black. So I don't know why the swatch says that it's black, but it does not match with any of the wood tones. They have these other versions of the grey that some of them match really well with the corrugated metal, but there are no door options to go with them. There's no wood trim on anything else that has this coloring. There is some furniture that does match up with some of these wall colors, but it seems odd to me that to have some furniture and to have some walls that have this coloring but no doors and floors that match. And then they introduce this paler blue, which blue is a huge theme across this pack, as you will see in the furniture, but this door does not match at all. That is a completely different blue. These 2 wood swatches also don't go with any of the other colors. The blues that have been introduced in this pack are not this pale pastel blue, and pink has been introduced slightly, but it's not this very pale pastel pinky brown color, although I will say it does match really well with the wood flooring here. I don't mind having the extra options. Like this is the exact same door, they've just changed the doorknob on it to slightly different colors. However, However, I don't think it's okay to have this many options for the pale color wood and then have hardly any options for the darker tones. I forgot to mention these new solar panels, they come in different color options. My conclusion on the materials provided for these container homes: beautiful, gorgeous, scrumdiddlyumptious. I love the colors, love the cohesive textures. My conclusion on the wood options: boo. Just kidding. The wood textures and colors are actually gorgeous and look way more realistic than the plastic looking swatches of earlier packs. I would just rather they limit the colors and balance them across all items in the pack. Alright, now here are all the windows, and I have organized them by matching sizes and also with the wall swatches that seem to complement them the best. Let's start with these windows that come in all three sizes. They're just the basic flat glass pane windows, and these are the different wood wall swatches that the frames go with. The only other window that comes in all three sizes is this corner type of window. It looks really good against the corrugated metal, the iron, as well as the stone walls. Another fun option for these triangular shaped windows is that if you actually put it on an angled wall, you can create a kind of corner window. I mean, the angle is slightly off, it's not completely straight, but it does create a nice 3D effect on your builds. These slatted sunshine windows are really awesome because they're slightly opened, so it has that eco-breezy look to it, and they don't quite come in all the different wood swatches. It tends to cater to the paler toned woods, orangey toned, and then the black. However, I do like that it also comes with this tree shape to it, which fits really well with the eco style, and then a floral design as well. And even though it doesn't include all the different wood swatches, it does act as a nice contrast against some of the blue coloring and the other wood and stone and metal coloring that we get with the walls. I love how three-dimensional the windows are in this pack, and as you can see here, we have another sort of triangular shaped window that has a nice windowsill on the other side. You could put a little plant there, and it's actually two different windows that you can have separately, or you can put them next to each other like this, or put them together and form a different angle like that. The only downside is there are no dark brown wood swatches for these windows. It only comes in the pale browns, the orangey brown, and then a grey color. However, at least the dark grey option does allow you to have a darker industrial build, and you don't have to have that stark white wood with the dark colors. Next, we have this series of windows that ties in perfectly to those industrial doors that have the edges that stick out, and I know some simmers didn't like the doors and windows sticking out like this. They look better as an exterior than an interior. I do think at the same time you can use it as an interior frame as well, because this pack is more industrial looking. These windows are really cool because you get this framed, boxed in, three-dimensional look to it, and this one is really cool because the glass actually wraps around the corner like that, and we don't have any windows like that in this game. And it also comes in this rusty and bright copper tone as well. So those are all the windows. Alright, now let's dig into the furniture. I spent hours organizing all the items as best as I could by collections and colors. I know, it's a tad OCD, but in doing so, it really helps us to visualize the pros and cons to the colors and variety of this pack. Before we look into all these items, we are going to use the cheat code Show Hidden Objects. So Control-Shift-C, type in BB Show Hidden Objects, and using this cheat gives us access to all the items that are unlocked by gameplay and some of the other debug objects, which is helpful for this pack because a lot of the craftables fall into that category. Furniture that comes with the pack that you can just duplicate by shift clicking falls into this category of furniture right here. These are most of the furniture objects that you can fabricate through the gameplay through the fabrication machines. First, going to take a look at some of the kids options. It doesn't have an extensive collection for kids, but I do appreciate that they went out of their way to make this beautiful 4-poster bed, because the kids' beds are always so boring. But this one's really nice. It comes with a mobile, a little stuffed animal. I love when they drape fabric over things. It just makes it look lived in. And I love this little popsicle stick type design. It really gives it that DIY fabricated feel to it. So these beds are for toddlers only, but there's also similar beds that tie into the style, the rounded edges, and they have matching cabinets. And something you can see here that I'm not a huge fan of with this pack is how many super pale colored options there are. And considering how vibrant the color schemes are throughout other areas of the pack, I was hoping that they wouldn't just stick to these very pale, almost white coloring, because then they all kind of end up looking the same. To be fair, when you place objects outside, they are going to look a lot more whitewashed, a lot brighter, because the lighting outdoors has more of that blue tone, a lot brighter than indoor lighting. So I've shown you with some indoor lighting, they're a lot more vibrant than they were when we were reviewing them just outside, but they're still very pale. I would have liked a bit more variety in the color choices. I do really appreciate these little fringe edges, and as we will see with the double beds, I like how it has this old frayed fabric, a patchwork type of effect that I really like. And here we have these recycled type of beds, so they've got these cool tears in them, and they really look like beds that you would just find rummaging through the garbage. But something I really can't stand about these beds is how many yellow and black pillows are on all of the options. The same with the double bed, black, grey and white. And it seems a very odd color choice to go with such pastel type colors, because you're really limited on how to decorate your bedrooms. Black and yellow are probably the two colors that most bedrooms are not really ever painted or designed in, and it's kind of weird because they don't actually provide some nice dark swatches to beds. I mean, they have these kind of grey and black ones, although it has this stark white contrast, which means that if I put this in a bedroom and I want to stick to darker, more industrial colours, I now have to also incorporate white, else that's just going to look a bit odd in the room. Here are a few more options for kids. We have a crafting table. I like how it's got all the paint left behind, and I really like all these added details they've put on here. Some of the previous designs for earlier game packs and base game packs, when they have cluttered objects, they do look a bit plasticky and a bit blurry. They don't have such a high definition look to them, and these have a lot more of a high definition look to all the objects. I also love these doll houses that are made out of cardboard. It suits the pack perfectly. And then here's some cloud lights that go on the wall. Here are some new couch options. I really love these. Again, I wish that there were more color choices. They seem like they're just variations of pretty much the same pastel tones, and we've got a little bit of these darker colors, but I think there was a missed opportunity because blue is such a huge focal point in this pack. As you'll see in these bathroom objects, there's tons of blue throughout this pack. It seems a bit strange to me that they didn't include some brighter blue swatches as well as some other colors, but I do love this modern style furniture. Usually I don't build with a lot of modern stuff, but I do like all the detailing, all the three-dimensional looks with the wood pieces sticking out, and I like how at least these chairs match up with these couches. Also, as you can see here, it has that kind of slotted edge look of DIY furniture, and the backs of these chairs and couches are my favorite. All that detail, and these are great as indoor or outdoor, and I love this wood texture, that weathered wood look. I like the patchwork effect of having different colored woods, and I really love this faded version right here with these faded cushions. And these chairs are my absolute favorite piece of furniture from this pack. I actually in real life was planning on reupholstering a chair with some coffee bean bags that have that cool printing on and that kind of taupey color. Again, there are a ton of options for slightly off-white and slightly pale gray. I really wish that there were some more in-between colors. I love these brown ones. They have that real industrial look, but I wish that there was a few more variations, like a lighter taupe or something that's less stark white or off-white. Here's a collection of furniture that you don't have to craft, and I organized it based on the wood color scheme that they went with. And although it took forever to do it, you can see that there's some issues where I don't know whether they forgot to make a table in this color swatch, but they've made it for every other swatch. And it might not seem like a big deal, but again, this pack seems to really cater to the lighter tone. Even though the wall colors have that darker industrial look, most of the furniture seems to be provided for in the lighter colors, although we are missing a cabinet here for this color. And I don't know whether that was purposeful or if it was accidental, but by organizing it like this, you can really see the discrepancies. So here we have a good example of how they created furniture that matched these wood paneling that they created. We've got just a few items that incorporate that pink look, but we do have these little tables that go with some of the color swatches. Again, not all of them. And I understand for a pack this size with this many objects, they're not going to be able to create the same color swatches for every item of furniture, but considering that this seems to fit into one cohesive collection, I feel like they should have incorporated every color that they provided a wall swatch for, or they provided some of the furniture for. Now, because this pack focuses on fabrication, I think they did a great job making it look like laser cut furniture, like laser cut wood. And so these chairs tie in really nicely to these dining chairs. And I just love these coffee tables, especially this weathered looking one. Unfortunately, they didn't provide the darker brown swatch, but they did incorporate some pattern ones, so you get a bit more option than all the matchy colors over here. Then we have these more sleek IKEA style dressers, and it does have that fabricated jigsaw cut. It's actually called jigsaw dresser. The benefit of having these really cool patchwork effect wood that's sandwiched together is even if it's missing some of the color swatches that you want, you can incorporate other colors into your design process. You can have this color wood and also incorporate some blue and white and black into your interior design, because this object brings multiple colors together, and so it helps you to incorporate a bunch of different colors in the same room. And there's a coffee table that matches each one of those. Now when it comes to the dining table, this is the only dining table with the pack, I thought it was a bit strange that some of the color swatches match the scheme that we see here, but then the other ones, they only match the legs, and the top of it is a completely different color. It's a paler color, and I do love that contrast look. That way you can tie in multiple colors into one room. However, if I'm looking for a table that will match the chairs that go with this color, so for example, if I want to set up the chairs and I want the chairs to match, these match perfectly, but then the chair for this color scheme is a completely different color to the surface of the table. That look is really cool, but I feel like those contrasting legs and tabletop should have been an additional extra piece of furniture to this collection, and they should have covered the basics of, if you're going to have a tabletop that matches this color scheme for this one, you should have a tabletop that matches for this one too. You might disagree, and that's totally fine. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I do love that these hallway tables match really well with the dining table, and then we get this other display table that has a fabricated woven feel to it, so it adds a bit of a new texture. Again, we see a great discrepancy with this smaller side table because they've provided a color that matches the series here, but they've missed out on this color swatch, they've missed out on the medium to dark brown color swatch, and then this one is a completely new brown that doesn't match any of the browns in the game, which was odd. This looks more like the kind of base game browns that we have. And then they incorporated these three grey toned taupey type greys, which I actually really love these colors, but they don't match anything else. They haven't provided these two colors anywhere else, so that seemed a bit odd. Here for the cabinets, we're missing this pale pine color brown, but I have to talk about these cabinets because they are so cool. I love how it comes pre-cluttered. There's so many times I try and elevate the stack of tiles from the game and create my own custom cabinets, but I really love that they've already saved us all that time by putting lots of great clutter inside these cabinets. And then this one also has great clutter, and I love the draped fabric, looks really cool. I love how this side is slightly different with this wood here. It has that crate paneling type look, and then this one comes with a ladder inside it. I think that just looks so cool. And then the contrasting wood, like mismatched wood, I really love that look. And the boxes and crates, the old fruit vegetable boxes. Then we have these nice sleek cabinets that work really well together. I love the angled books that are stacked, and I think the plant colors tie in really nicely to the rest of the colors of the pack, which all have this bit of blue. The only downside to throwing in that blue color in all of these different pieces of furniture is it limits you to incorporate blue into your color scheme when maybe you don't want to have blue in your design, because look, they all come with the blue plant in it. However, that blue tone is a really big part of this pack, and as you can see real quick here, we've got a blue toned green with the blue toned glasses. So in that way, incorporating blue into everything really does tie things together, but I do think it might limit some people in their design if they really don't want blue in their color scheme. Now here are some industrial shelves that everyone was getting excited about when they saw the trailer. I love the shape and design of this, and it's really great that they've put a sheen on the edges to make it look more realistic. It's got some plants on here already. I love this kind of hanging shelf look. This is supposed to go up against a wall, and it already comes with all of this great clutter. I think these are supposed to be flowers that are sandwiched between glass. This one looks a bit pixely, so I don't think the quality of that looks as good, but I do love the hanging plant look, and those come in each of the color schemes. Then in these shelves, they start to incorporate matching different tones of wood together in one, and I like that because again, it can tie in multiple shades of wood. So because this pack doesn't really have wood tones that go really perfectly together, at least with objects like this, you can tie in multiple different wood tones in the same room. Again, the rocks each have a blue tone to them, but I like the succulents. I like the shape of this. The only downside is this stark white next to the dark woods, which can look cool, but if you don't want that stark contrast, then you're kind of stuck with it. But at least they've matched with the light colored wood of the tabletop, so you could put this in the same room and it would look like it's part of the same collection. Almost, because this is a bit more of a white wood and this is more of an off-white, so they're not perfectly matched, but you can probably get away with it with indoor lighting. And then we have those similar sandwiched wood edges on these options. Again, some of the color schemes are missing an option and some of them have way too many options. Like the only difference in these is the color of the boxes and the shelves. So I feel like that's a bit unnecessary when there wasn't one provided for the other color scheme. And then this kind of curved shelf has more of that modern, sleek, rounded shape, and this goes perfectly with these kids' beds. But again, it's missing some color options for the darker tones. These shelves are really cool because they're little succulent gardens. It's got the glass rim here with a rock garden inside and all of these different succulents. So I really like that because a lot of times when you're trying to clutter a build, you're trying to add all the plants to them. So it's great to have objects that already have all of these plants on them, which saves you a lot of time when you're trying to clutter up a build to make it look more realistic. And here are some of the clutter items that come with the pack. They've done a great job sticking with that color scheme of having the coppery tones, some of the darker colors, the darker metals and stone, as well as the lighter colors. And usually I don't like really purpley plants, but I think it suits really well in this collection. This is a really nice indoor plant pot with the metal trim around it. There's an introduction of this pinky metal, which does tie into the hint of pink that we get sparsely in this pack, but it is a bit of an odd choice because there are so few items that have this tone to them, but I still really like this plant. I do wish that there were some more dark plant pot options, because if I have a room that has mostly the darker brown color scheme and I don't want this really pale grey to be incorporated in it, it is going to be harder to have things match, but that might not bother you. And then these little rock succulents that look really cool and three-dimensional. They did a great job with the colours on those, I think. And then these little twig plant pots. They have a bit more of a country feel, and as I will show you at the end, in indoor lighting they do look a bit dark, so I don't know if that's a problem, but outdoors they look really nice. Now we come to the bathroom collection, and people either love this or hate this. I will say I do love the concrete look with the resin trim. I think it looks awesome. These ones match the wood schemes a lot better, but they are for outdoor use, so they match perfectly with some of the outdoor furniture we will be seeing. But it is very limiting with this for every single sink and tub and toilet to have the blue or one of them pink resin in. Again, this pink doesn't match any of the pinks in any of the pack. This seems to go a lot better with that fitness stuff pack that we had, that more sleek modern concrete look, and I do love the concrete feel. I just think it doesn't quite match the rest of the pack. You guys let me know what you think, but this limits you to have to incorporate blue into every single bathroom, or this bright yellow, which this yellow isn't found anywhere else in the pack either, except maybe this color scheme here. So it was an odd color choice. I do think it looks cool, I just don't think it matches perfectly with this pack. And then we've got these cool little concrete bowls that do tie into the bathroom design. Now for the rest of the clutter items, these lock against a wall, which is really useful. They're supposed to lean against the wall. I like all the options. I really love all of these green scenery, which ties into the pack well. And I love this little drink tray. For those of you who are familiar with using DEBUG objects, usually the glasses that you use for the game, your Sims will end up cleaning up because they go filthy, but these are great because they're decorative, and it's a great way to decorate kitchens and living areas. And then we've got these little baskets that have a representation for each of the colors quite well, and I love the draped blanket look to it as well. Now if you're using the show hidden objects cheat, you can also use all of these items as clutter in your build. I saved it to my library and then replaced this lot, and these items still remained. So usually when you're using some unlocked and debug objects, they disappear or they go filthy, they get spoiled, especially when it's like cups and cans, and your Sims will clean them up. But it seems like you can actually use these as decoration and they won't get cleaned up. I haven't tried it out with gameplay, so you'll have to let me know. But the cool thing about that is that you can fill kitchen shelves and cabinets and everything with these items. And these are all the fizzy drinks that you can make, the kombuchas you can make, and then this one, which is a suspicious fizzy drink. And then we've got these glass bottles that will look really great with clutter. If you're trying to build a small business look or an industrial factory look, there's all these boxes of the craftable items that you've made that you can use as decoration. And then for those of you who were bummed at the bags of flour that I believe come with base game game that are debug objects. They usually disappear once you put them into a build and save the room to the library or to the gallery. These ones don't seem to disappear, so you can use them as decoration, which will look great if you're trying to make it look like your sim has been baking. We have these fun little old-fashioned TVs that you would probably find in the recycling bin. Here are the tablets that you see in the trailer when designing this smog vacuum, and you can find pre-made smog vacuums in the hidden objects. Here's the bug fuel, the bug biofuel. I think that powers the generator. There's this speaker that has a very 4th of July Americana feel to it, which I don't understand why that color scheme, because it doesn't really tie in to the rest of the pack. Plus, I know that Sims is created in America, but I feel like it should have a bit more of an international feel, so I don't know, that color choice for the speaker is a bit odd to me. And then here are some other items you can use as decoration or actually use in the game. We've got the blueprints, we've got the candle making template and the measuring jugs, and I don't know what this is, food or spices or fertilizer. And then here are the meat cubes, here's the recycled cube, here are the upgrade parts that you'll need to craft some of these items. Soybeans, these are the different fabric dyes that you will need for the fabricated furniture that we'll look at in a second. Here's all the flowers that you can make from bugs so you can make your own food, which I will definitely not be doing. Then here's all the seeds, and here's some books that apparently you might have to read in order to get good at fabrication. I'm not sure, I actually haven't tested out the gameplay yet. And then here's the different candles that you can make, and some of these seem to have a mood effect on your Sims. I wish I could get closer to show you, but I really love the ombre effect of these carved candles. Those ones are really cool looking. And then each of these colors matches with the other fabricated objects that we will take a look at. And these are boxes of stickers. So I haven't really looked into the gameplay yet. I don't know if one of the craftables is stickers, but anyway, if you're trying to have that warehouse feel, you can use these boxes as decoration. Alright, now here are the fabricated pieces of furniture you can make and the color schemes that they all cohere to, which I think they did a great job of, and they all have that handmade prefabricated type effect. Most of them are solid colors, but it also comes in this houndstooth pattern and also this kind of Mod Podge floral with thorn design. Not my personal favorite, but it's cool to have a different option. Now here are the dressers, and what I like about having these empty spaces, you can use the base game stacks of shirts, for example, although they do lock into the top, which is nice, so you can lock in some objects up there. And then if you position it right, you can also use these base game mounted clothing rails inside, and it looks like they're hanging up in there. So that's a fun option that you can do. Then we have these shelves that kind of remind me of guitar picks. What I really like about these tables is the edges, the corner edges. I mean, they all fit the same wood scheme, so there's only the orangey wood and the kind of paler wood, so if you're working with other darker furniture, then it might not go as well because they're all pretty much tied to this lighter brown color. But at least they all work within the same color schemes really well. The only downside of these fabricated pieces of furniture is you can't change the color with the design tool. They're each individually listed when you use the show hidden objects cheat, so you have to really know what color you are getting, which is easier for the bigger pieces of furniture, but it does get a bit tricky when you're trying to choose the right color lamp for the color scheme. The only way I knew which lamp went with what color scheme was to lay them all out and figure it out, but in these pictures they're a bit small for you to figure out what exact color that you want. But that's just an issue with using cheat. If you're doing it through gameplay, you can pick which color you want to make. And then we have this kind of folded wood look. I do like the backs of them. I like that they put a lot of detail into every angle of the objects. There's also these outdoor like lounge chairs. They don't seem to match the color scheme that's here, even though it's the exact same style as these ones. Your only options are mostly pastel, a bit of an orangey one and a kind of a darker one, and that seems to mirror the design of the color scheme of the beds a bit more than it does this collection of furniture. Then we have this modern design of chairs and couches, and what I like about this is it kind of flares out a little bit, which adds a new shape to the game, which I like. The pack only comes with this desk that you have to fabricate, and it has a bit of that sandwiched wood feel, that jigsaw cut wood, but I really like the leg design. Again, all of them have white except this pink next to the red, which is a bit odd, and then these ones have blue, which is okay because the swatches on top are green and blue, but again, it will limit you on your color scheme for your design. We've got these sleek end tables. I like the shape of the legs. It's different. It has a bit of a modern feel, but it also ties into the DIY look of this pack. These lamps are really great with a wonderful wood texture. Again, the wood is all pale, so it doesn't work in a darker schemed room. I love these little geometric lights. They go really well with the geometric planter pots that you see in these cluttered items over here. And they also give us a geometric wall light And then these rugs that I also think look like guitar picks. The actual size of them is this one over here, but I shrunk them so that I could fit them all onto this lot. And then we have these interesting geometric floor lights. I just put them here because they're not actually part of the fabrication collection. It's just that the colors kind of tie together. And then these are all the beds that you can make, the fabrication beds, and they have a nice brighter color. I'm not a huge fan of the frames. This frame's pretty cool. This one just feels a bit plasticky to me, and the frames are all the same color, so if I don't want to have all my furniture have white in it, I've got no other options. Overall, I think they did a great job with the furniture, other than the fact that it's missing some of the color swatches and it doesn't seem like the color schemes really go together with these really super pale beds. The bedding is one of the lowest points for the pack for me. I'm not a fan of most of the beds, and here I'll show you. These are the beds that you get with seasons, and to me the detail on this fabric is so much better, and the color choices I think tie into this pack a lot better than the beds that come with this pack, but that might just be my opinion. Here are some of the other outdoor objects that come with the pack. Again, we have these roof turbines, but also this taller version that you can place anywhere you want. Then we have these solar panels on angled frames that can be placed on the floor, and they match perfectly with the roof solar panels. And then these hidden objects stalls are, I think they probably function a lot like what you find with the other packs, where if you put this on a lot, you might have to hire someone to man the beverage pagoda. Here are the different fabricated bikes that you can make. They come in lots of different colors, which I think they did a great job with, especially these designs match perfectly with the fizzy drinks. I mean, basically it's the bike from Discover University. They've just put a wooden frame on it. Personally, I would have loved if they would have added mopeds, but of course that's not going to add to your eco footprint. That's going to take away from your eco footprint and make it industrial, which I'm okay with. These will help you on your bills. We have dew collectors, fabrication machines, and also the water generators. I love that they provided for the water generators the white and the grey and the black. I'm not a huge fan of these bright colours, and I really don't understand why they incorporated orange with yellow into this pack. It seems like some things are orange, some things are yellow, and I know we kind of get this colour with the fabrication, but it's not really found in any of the walls or doors or windows that we looked at, so it's okay to have a new bright colour. I think they would have done better if they tied these colours into the ones that we already see with the corrugated metal and more of the natural tones that we see throughout this pack, rather than these really gaudy bright colours, which I'm not a fan of really bright colours, but you might be. I do think they should have at least made these recycling machines in the same colours as the atmospheric water generators so that they can all tie together on one lot together. Then we get 3 options of generators. I do like this ombre effect, and I understand that generators usually do come in very bright colours. It would have been nice to have a rusty old metal version though. And then here are the fabrication machines, and I think that these don't go with the pack at all. They have more of that sleek get to work look to them rather than this really cool textured metal that they introduced in this pack. I really would have loved if they'd done that textured metal look to the fabrication machines, because they look a bit plasticky, so they stick out like a sore thumb in comparison to the other textures and styles of the machinery. This is one of my favourite objects in the pack. It has that really cool galvanized metal look, and these are the outdoor awnings. This is the actual size it comes in. I shrunk these to fit them on the lot, and this is my favourite colour. I don't think that the colour schemes are that great with the rest of the pack. I do think some of these colours are a bit of an odd choice. I wish they would have provided more colour options that match better with the other colours. Then here's another option of awning that you can fabricate. It ties in that geometric shape really well, and it's got a bit of that opaque plastic look to it. It comes in all the variety of colours that you find in this collection over here. And then here are all the outdoor items. We have these craftable birdhouses that you can make. Again, this is a weird wood color that isn't anywhere else in the pack, so it doesn't tie in very well. But at least you've got a few options. And of course, you don't have to have everything matching, but I do think when it comes to wood tones, it's a bit weird when you've got such contrasting wood tones all together, but that eclectic look is part of the pack too. Then these are the insect farms that you will have to fill with insects. And I don't know about you, but I was not a fan of the trailer when they showed him snuggling up against the grub as if it was his pet, and then the next minute he's scoffing it down, eating him. So I will not be using this feature to make food, but I might still use it just to have bugs as pets. These are the different market stalls that you can use to sell your kombucha or your candles or anything that you make, and I love that they come in all different styles. So we've got that more kind of hipster chalkboard look to it, but then we've also got the fun look of what a kid stall might look like. This collection of gardening tables is not interactive, it's just for decoration, but I do love that it's got these hanging lights, it's got this soil, it looks more realistic, it's got all these three-dimensional plants, all these boxes. It doesn't come in a ton of different color swatches, but I think that these tie into the overall outdoor tones that we see. And then these are the candle making craftable tables. They have lots of detail as well, which is nice. And then my favorite is the fizzy juicing station. I love this distiller look to it with all your supplies, all the clutter around it is really good. And there's only 5 color options, but at least they tie into darker to lighter tones of wood, so they'll match with most of the designs that you create. These are the outdoor wood and concrete benches that tie perfectly with the grass window planters. These are craftable hydroponic planters, and the pattern of wood on them match nicely with these planters. I love these planters, the elevation, the different wood colors all together, and the variety of plant colors that really look nice together. Then we've got these tree planters. All the trees are the same color, but they have different color wood bases, and I love the weathered look. And there's also a brightly colored one that works perfectly if you're building like a kids area or a community lot that incorporates kids. Love the floral trellises that almost come in all of the different wood swatches, as well as these dividers that you can use indoor or outdoor. Then here are the vertical planters that you will be planting in, and you need special seeds for vertical planters. I don't think you can just plant any seed into these planters. I think they have to be these specific ones that come with the pack. And you can also later on, once you've skilled up, I don't know whether it's a civil engineer career, but once you've leveled up, you can turn this into a meat wall, which is a bit creepy. It's not actual meat. I think it's made with like soy or something. They've created another vertical planter that you don't interact with, it's just for decoration. But all of these wood swatches are available for the exact same vertical planter, but they don't provide those color swatches for the interactive planters, which I think is silly because they obviously already created these swatches. They could have just applied them on more of them, so you only get these color options rather than all of these, which is a shame because I really love this weathered look of this one and the different variety you get. Then we get these grass walls. These have been really in for years, you know, the vertical gardens with succulents and grasses. It has a really cool design. The only thing is I wish it came in a mirror image, because when you put them on the same build, and let's say you design 2 columns, it would be nice to be able to have the option to mirror image it. But the good thing about this is if you place one on top of the other, it carries on the pattern seamlessly. So that's a great feature. Alright, now here we have all the rugs, and a lot of people are loving these paler toned rugs because a lot of the rugs that come in the game are very gaudy and brightly coloured, so it's nice to have a more neutral, modern looking rug. There's not much option except for these black and grey ones for a darker schemed room. Like there should have been tied in some of the browns, even tied in a bit more of the blues and other colours. These are all very similar to each other, I think. I think they could have added either not made so many that look identical and added a different kind of colour swatch as an option. Same with these rugs. I do love this woven design. I'm not a huge fan of these, but I know that there are people who really love this rug design. This is the fireplace that comes with the pack. It does give you an industrial footprint rather than an eco footprint, but they did a great job matching it up with the corrugated metal. So at least you get one in each color option, which I really like. And these are the fabricated cutouts, wall decorations that you can create that tie in the colors really nicely. I'm surprised that they didn't include a green one. Same here. Here's some wood cutout leaves. Again, not every swatch of wood is represented in this, but they do cover most of the swatches of wood. And then I love these wood paneling. I wish it came in more than just the 2 colors though. But unfortunately, it only comes in this color brown, which doesn't match any of the wall swatches. Again, it's that odd color brown that there's a couple of random items in this brighter brown that doesn't match with anything else. Actually, it doesn't even match with this brown. And then we have these laser cut decorations for kids' rooms. Here's some more wall lights that kind of look like the ones you get with Seasons. And then there's these kind of opaque lights that have a bit of a globe feel to them, but they're actually leaves. It won't let me zoom in, they disappear. And they come in a variety of colors that go well with light to dark. Here are some light options that do have some lighter color swatches. Again, the top of all of these is the exact same color wood, but at least with these lights they do tie in different colors of wood together, so that could be something that brings a room that uses lots of different wood swatches together and make it look purposeful. And then we've got these more industrial metallic lights that match the corrugated metal colors really well. Here are the curtains that come with the pack. We've got some different designs, and these yellowy and orangey ones are probably supposed to go with the fabricated look of this furniture. Then we've got some blue tones and a bit of green. For more wall decorations, they've created all of these different decor that create lots of texture for the room, which I like. We've got these vertical stripes, which I don't know which pack, but I know that there's another pack that has these. But these at least come in a more of a wood texture and have some paler options. This color swatch is missing any options, and so is the dark brown, once again missing color options. But at least most of the color swatches come with some matching decor, and you can have horizontal or vertical lines. These are really cool with like moving wooden pieces inside of them. They work great as a backsplash for beds. The color choices are a bit limiting, but at least they provided some light and dark and a few colorful ones. Again, we've got this purple and pink that's included when there's really not a lot of pink in this pack other than these random pieces, so it probably would have been better to pick one of the color swatches that are heavily featured in this pack instead. There's some matching glass panels that you can put against the wall. So at least, even though this color is a bit of an odd choice compared to the other colors they could have chosen, at least it does tie in together well with the other wall decorations, and this one is my favorite. I wish it came in more color swatches. I love that ombre effect, I love the 3D effect of it, and you can put them together this way, or you can put them together with the center sticking out like that, or just by itself. Here we have different dumpster options, so your Sims can go dumpster diving to find supplies to make crafts, even to eat food, and I love that it comes with graffiti options if you're trying to make that post-apocalyptic industrial grungy type of world. There are some debug objects in the Show Hidden Objects cheat, and you get all of these really cool clutter items of garbage. All different kinds, lots of detail, and there's even more with the other debug objects that I will show you in a minute. I love that this comes with an old bathtub, we've got tires and wood, these old pieces of furniture and refrigerators. Oh, and I forgot to show this really cool archway. This works so well as an entry to a garden, to the community lot. I do wish there were more color swatches because unlike the other ones that only seem to come in pale options, these arches all have the darker wood tones on the top of them, which it does look nice. It does look nice with this, and it does tie into the colors here in the outdoor furniture. I just wish there were a few more options, a few more swatches, especially a more weathered look on the top would have looked really cool. Alright, now for my favorite part of every pack, and that is the debug objects. So these aren't objects that are considered to be part of the game, they're just freebies that the Sims team, I think it was just a couple years ago, they made them accessible for us to use in our builds if we wish to, and they're basically just the objects that you will see throughout Evergreen Harbor. So to access all of these, we've already used the Show Hidden Objects cheat, which has shown us all of these things here, but Control-Shift-C or use all 4 shoulder buttons if you're using console. BB, Show, Live, Edit Objects. And now you'll see you have access to all of these objects. The great thing about debug objects is oftentimes the footprint of the object is very small. So for example, the green grid underneath an object is the footprint, and normally that prevents a Sim from being able to go past it or through it because it blocks them. And if you're familiar with using the move cheat to move objects cheat, you know that it is easy to create obstacles. When you're trying to design a lot, you can end up creating tons of obstacles that your Sims can't interact with and you have to fix it. But with debug objects, it means that wherever it's not green, those are areas that you can blend into other objects and a Sim can still interact with it. So you could use something like this underneath a larger object, like if you wanted to make the bonfire even bigger. From Get Together, there's this massive fire pile. Like if you wanted to add some extra wood to it, you could put it like that and the Sims will still be able to interact with this object. Alright, now there's not a ton of debug objects with this pack, but some of them are really cool. We have this massive water tower with this very bright yellow metal, and these are cool because the individual pieces are debug objects that you can use. You can see the footprint on this is tiny, it's only in one of the corners, so you can place this. I mean, Sims will walk through it, so that might break the reality of it, but it's still cool because you can layer this around buildings and it won't obstruct your Sims' path. And this is the walkway that you can use in your own builds. It comes with this cool ramp, and you can actually have Sims walk across it if you build a floor underneath it. I've elevated them slightly because they do come in the ground, so I'll show you, and it makes it flicker. So when you're using them, you will have to elevate them slightly, and your Sims can walk across it because, again, the footprint is only a tiny square. Then we've got these really cool, like, industrial concrete sewage pipes or drain pipes. Some of these objects you can actually find as debug objects from from other packs like these and like these wooden fences, although I think this one is a lot longer than the other debug that comes with, I believe, base game. And then stuff like this, like these cars and oil cans are actually part of Strangerville, but they've used them as debug objects here. So as you can see, these are the ones from Strangerville. They are a slightly different color swatch, but they're essentially the same design. So you will find that in a lot of debug objects, several packs will use the same objects. And then some of these trash piles I already showed you with the show hidden objects cheat in the previous lot where we were looking at furniture, but it comes with some additional piles of garbage. These ones are like a row of them, and it comes with all of these cartons and pizza boxes, and you can really clutter your world. And if you use Twisted Mexie's tool mod, the whole purpose of that tool mod is to place objects off lot. So using their grid system, you could actually place this off the lot if you wanted to. Now you can't upload it to gallery because it won't be part of this lot. It won't be part of the lot you're building on, but let's say that you wanted to really industrialize the city and cover it in tons of garbage, you could use Twisted Mexie's mod and clutter all the streets with all of this garbage. These pipes we've seen before, these electrical boxes we've seen before, but it's nice that they're part of this pack too because it's easier to find, because I think these were part of base game, and it can base game debug objects, there's a ton of them, so it can get really hard to get through them all. So it's nice to know that you can find these pipes in Eco Lifestyle and find them really quickly. These are great for parking lots, and the texture on these tires are the best texture that we've had so far. For example, this is the tire, the debug tire that came with the Strangerville. It's a lot smaller, but we've got these massive industrial tires like monster truck wheel tires, and they've got a nicer realistic texture to them. We've got some more industrial towers right here. Unfortunately, I wish they would have included some of the other debug objects that you can find throughout the world. So for example, this is where the debug objects come from. They're objects that are created to be part of the scenery. We're at Port Promise, and this shows you how they use the walkways and all the pipes. And they did provide us with all of these objects in debug, but I really wish they would have included this archway, this tunnel. They've provided debug bridges before in other packs, like in base game and all the other packs, and I would have loved this archway because this would have been so perfect in tons of different kinds of builds, because we don't really have any arches in the game. And look at this crane. I would be in building heaven if they would have included this as one of the debug objects. It's got so much texture, so much detail, perfect for industrial, post-apocalyptic, dystopian type builds, but alas, this was not included. Now we're in the Conifer Station neighborhood, and items like this would have been great as debug. These arched wooden doors with the graffiti on them, that would be so cool if they incorporated that in the tunnels, the archways. And then these industrial towers or whatever they are, those would look so cool as debug objects as well. The amount of detail, you could just make them slightly smaller and incorporate them in so many different kinds of builds. And here's Grimm's Quarry, where we do get all of these rocks in the debug options. Now I'm going to quickly show you on this community lot. Sometimes with debug objects that they include in the game, they don't actually work when you place them. So there's this one, if you see on the screen, it appears and disappears, but if I try to place it anywhere, it's not an actual thing. So sometimes debug objects don't actually work when you try to use them in your own build. Alright, now we're back on the lot to show you the rest of the debug objects. Here's one of those installation art pieces that are found in one of the neighborhoods. And then I believe this, I don't know what this is. I don't know whether this is like a stone cutter for the quarry. It's on top of the rock, so I'm assuming it's something like that. We've also got these wall decorations that already come with the game, but these are taller panels that you could use. They're debug versions of it. Then this massive concrete fountain art piece. Here are all the quarry stones, and the great thing about this is that I don't know if you've ever tried to do a build where you elevate it on a bunch of rocks and you want it to have that rocky cliff look underneath it. Well, with this, it's so much easier. You don't have to use a ton of rocks. It's already created as a wall, and it almost has a pyramid style to it, so you could also build some sort of funky pyramid. And we've got these big slabs. You could use these as icebergs. And then it also comes with these rocks. Now these rocks I think are debug from base game as well, but I think those ones have grass on top, so it's nice to have a different option. And then these rocks are really cool, and I think they probably go really well with Realm of Magic rocks, or there's another pack that has rocks that are exactly this color. These are going to look great next to pools or a pond or anything else you can think of. And here are some of the cut quarry stones, and I just think the texture on them is so cool. They look a lot more realistic than the other debug rocks that we've had. And this is some sort of street divider. You could always make it a bit smaller, turn it into a planter. And then we get these really cool high definition train cars, and other packs have train cars with them too. And there is a toy version, I believe, of this one, but when you try and make it bigger, it's very blurry and the details are very bad. And I think with Strangerville, they might have been a weathered version of this train. But anyway, this pack comes with these 3 train carts that are really cool. Again, this one is my favorite and I can see myself using it in so many industrial builds. It also comes with these train tracks, safety bumpers, train signs, train nails, and this train traffic sign, which is really cool because there are some train debug objects in some other packs too that you can incorporate with this. And then we have some decorative containers if maybe you want to create a container build and make it stack up really high. We only have the option of creating 4 stories, so if you could always add this or add it into surrounding world. And it comes as singles, as a 4-pack, and as doubles. We also have this really great industrial arch that you can use in factory builds and all kinds of things. The pipes have this weird purple color as well as this wonderful rust color. I don't know whether this purple color is like the base that they then put this color swatch on top of. Who knows? It is a kind of a fun, funky color that you could incorporate into a build. And then this really cool propeller that I could see being used in steampunk builds, industrial builds, aeroplane builds, ship builds. We've got this really cool industrial tower and some of the metal framework that goes along with it. Some of these plants and trees, I don't know if these collections of trees are debug from any other packs as well. I haven't seen this fencing before, so I think this only comes with this pack. And the plants, I've seen these as debug objects in base game and other packs, but I love this ivy that's shaped. This one's around a corner. You can use it on the corner of a build and it's got flowers on, which is really nice. And then we have these that are specifically shaped around columns, and I'm assuming this one looks like it goes with this water tower. And then there's a couple others that seem to be wrapped around. This might be underneath the train tracks in one of the worlds. They've got similar ones of these in base game debug objects, but this one has a brighter, more vivid green. And we've got these plants. We've also got these really cool concrete slabs, some wood slabs, some rock dust, concrete dividers. So these are all the debug objects that come with the pack that you can use to spruce up any of your builds. Alright, now I'm going to show you 2 builds really quick. One that was created by the Maxis team and one that I started to work on to show off some of the features of this pack so that you can get a better feel for how you can incorporate these items. I must say, this is probably the most creative build that I've ever seen the Sims team create for the game. They created their own crane, which is really cool, and it only uses stuff from Eco, Lifestyle, and base game. It's got that great eclectic feel to it, container home, and this is how they made theirs look on the inside. One thing that I think is kind of unforgivable for an expansion pack is no new kitchen stuff. No fridges, no cabinets, no countertops, no appliances whatsoever. And I think that for $40 for an expansion pack, every expansion pack should come with one of everything. Especially since Realm of Magic came with new stuff, and that was a game pack. And I know that this pack has a ton of stuff in it, but I really do think that an expansion pack should come with new kitchen. I know that the base game industrial counters do go with this pack, but still, I really think they should have come up with new swatches. I started playing around with the new pack objects in this green conversion of an industrial factory build I'm playing around with. Of course, I have incorporated some things from some other packs too. So I'm setting up a community garden area with all of the cool new gardening outdoor furniture and objects. I'm mainly showing you this because I want you to see what the objects look like in indoor lighting. This one is my favorite bed option, probably because it has a bit more color than the other ones. And then I played around with the wall decoration, making some of them bigger, some of them smaller. I do agree with some of the simmers that this frame sticks out a bit too far. As you can see, it's cutting into a window that I have on the side. However, I think that it blends really well with this wall texture, and I think it fits the industrial theme. I haven't fully decorated the bathroom, but this is what the bathroom furniture looks like inside. And I've used this kind of outdoor trim of the window on the inside because I think it ties in well to the concrete look of the bathroom furniture. Here's some of the decoration. I really like the wooden and rope feel of these lights. And ladders, finally! Now we can get up into those tight spaces. This is actually a bed from Seasons because, like I said before, I think it ties into the colours a lot better than the beds from this pack. This works great as a bathroom linen cupboard. I'm thinking of turning this into an indoor greenhouse. I'm just going to show you a few more things. This is how the shelving looks like inside. There's also, I think I forgot to show you, this rug that looks like grass. I think it looks better indoors because if you put it outdoors, it's very, very bright. And then I've just lined up some of the beds here so you can get a sense for what they look like inside. Very pale, very washed out, not a huge fan of the colours, but you might really like these. Some of the furniture. Again, the light toned wood, you can make it work with some of the darker walls. I just personally would have liked some darker options. Started to build a little kitchenette area. Obviously this stuff isn't from the pack, it's base game. And here's the darker options for the shelving because I wanted to give you an example of why I wish the darker swatches, when they put it with this contrasting pale wood in a dark build, it just looks a bit cluttered in a bad way. You might think that looks nice. I just think it would have looked better if they put 2 of the darker woods together instead of contrasting it with such pale woods. And of course I put the kids' corner over by the gaping hole in the floor floor. No, I'm not sadistic, but I did think it was funny. And then I was playing around with these green walls, which I really like. Here's a little living room area. This is from the Tiny Home pack. And this floor lamp is base game, but I think it goes really well with the industrial feel. Wonderful clutter items, some of the hidden object candles. Oh, and I forgot to mention the great thing about these candles is you can burn them down and they will actually melt, and you can stop them at the level at which you want them to stay, and you can permanently keep them there. So you can have candles of all different levels burning together, which will look so cool. Awesome wooden boxy furniture. And as you can see here, you can mix and match the woods together and it still can look really good, especially for this eclectic feel of the pack. Here's an example of this basket of flowers and how for some reason it just doesn't look as good with indoor lighting as it does with outdoor lighting. And then I used the DEBUG tower here as part of the distillery for the fizzy juice and kombucha. And I'm using pipes from Get to Work as well. But here we have the candle making sections. This is a rug actually from Seasons, but I think the colours and the shape tie in really well. Now these windows, they didn't look as good in the outdoor lighting, but as you can see here, the design is really cool and it blends really nicely with this wall. Even though it's the orangey wood and this has more of a rust colour, they do partner quite well together. So even though I complained a lot about not matching colour swatches, I think with indoor lighting you can kind of get away with it a bit more than outdoor. And there you go! Overall, I really love this pack. It has both modern and industrial feel to it, so it caters to all kinds of different builders. So what do you guys think? From a builder's perspective, is this pack worth it for you? I hope you found this pack review helpful. Please leave a thumbs up if you liked the video, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and turn on the bell to be notified about fresh content. As always, thank you for your wonderful support. Love ya!